What's up, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Cheers Reviews. I'm your host, Jimmy, and today we're talking about the Squier Classic Vibe 70s Precision Bass 12 months on. Now, if you're new around here and you want to see weekly bass-related content, go ahead and smash that subscribe button or leave a comment below. I do read them all. Now, just over 12 months ago, I purchased this Squier Classic Vibe 70s Precision Bass, and a few months later I decided to do a review on it. So if you haven't checked that out, I'm going to leave a link in the description below, but please be nice, it was my first ever review. Since then, I've had a heap of people ask me if it stood the test of time, what it's like to live with 12 months on. So today we're going to have a look back on the Squier Classic Vibe 70s Precision Bass, so let's get into it. As mentioned in my review, I've absolutely loved this bass ever since taking it out of the box, and before this, I hadn't really given Squier a good go. So for a little bit of context, when I first started playing the bass all the way back in 2004, Squier wasn't really a brand that I was attracted to. Well, the reason why was because their basses were quite bland, lacked a lot of character. The build quality was okay, but it really wasn't great, so I hadn't paid much attention to them when they were releasing brand new basses. But last year, I was on the hunt for a Fender Player Series Precision bass, and my eyes were immediately drawn to the Squier Classic Vibe section. It was just such a vibrant contrast to the rest of the store. Although it was a vibrant selection of basses on that wall, my eyes were drawn to the 70s P bass, and I think it was because of that walnut color. But next thing you know, I picked it up, plugged it in, and had a test drive. And my first impressions were good. In fact, really good. So good that I bought it on the spot. The things that really jumped out to me with those first impressions and for the first couple of months onwards was the smooth, slim, glossy neck, rounded off fret edges, and of course the color. I just absolutely love the combination of the tinted neck with the walnut body and the black scratch plate. Also, the split coil Alnico pickup is super warm and punchy and really unique in comparison to other P basses that I've tried before. And we're gonna have a bit of a listen later on, so stick around for that. But as the months went on, there were a few things that started to show their weakness to an otherwise awesome bass. One of the first things I replaced was the bridge. I found that the Squier one was okay, but it didn't hold the setup as well as I'd like to. For example, every now and again, the hex screws on the saddles of the bridge would magically unwind themselves so low to a point that the strings would bottom out on the frets. However, this was easily fixed with a direct replacement. I got a Gotoh 201B bridge because of its solid build quality, classic design, and the fact that it directly changes over from the stock Squier or Fender bridge. The difference was huge. It holds the setup way better, and it actually pulls a little bit more tone out of the NATO body. Another thing which I had only picked up once regular gigging was back was the tuners on the headstock. For the most part, they worked well, but when I was playing those longer sets, I was having to tune up a little bit more than I'd like. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it was certainly something that could be fixed and done with very little modification. I fixed this by installing a set of Gotoh GB2 headstock tuners, and wow, it actually made a much bigger difference than I thought. Now, I'll try and get a close-up of the headstock, but you can just see how thick the material is that they use on the Gotoh GB2 tuners, so you just know that it's quality. Yes, they are slightly heavier than the stock ones, but not heavy enough to cause any neck dive. Other than that, it's been a dream to live with. I've only had to adjust the neck once. The electricals have never let me down, and honestly, it feels just as good as the day that I got it. Anyways, I know that you're hanging out to hear this thing, so without much further ado, let's see how it sounds. thought in the comments below. As I said, I absolutely love the Squier Classic Vibe 70s Precision bass because of its durability, reliability, and gnarly P-bass sounds. Yes, there are a few upgrades along the way, but they have only made this bass an even more solid performer, and coupling that with just how comfortable this bass really is, I can see myself loving it for years to come. Anyways, I hope I've been able to provide a little bit of insight as to how the 70s Classic Vibe P-bass is to live with, what it's like 12 months on. Let me know in the comments below if you agree. If you have one, I'd love to hear what you think of this bass. But until next week, keep on rocking, and I'll see you next time.